Everyone vacations differently. Some people want adventure, some want relaxation, but everyone wants to be safe. Some of the most well-known tourist destinations do not always guarantee that last one. Below is a list of some of the most dangerous tourist destinations around the world. If you'd like your holiday to come with a side of danger, these places are just for you. Before watching the video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Number 10. Bangkok, Thailand. Thailand has been Southeast Asia's tourist hub for years now and is really one of the world's most charming cities. In Bangkok, you're guaranteed to have an unforgettable time, although without watching your step, this could be for the wrong reasons. Thailand has difficulties with crime and is rife with corruption that has stunted its development for as long as memory serves. Organized crime is prominent in Bangkok, and authorities seem to do the opposite of prevention. In extreme cases, it's not uncommon for tourists to have fatal accidents that are followed up by bungled, unfinished police investigations. That said, you're more likely to be targeted by a street scam, a police bribe, or a thief than violence. Keep your wits about you, your valuables safe and hidden, and learn to recognize common scams. Number 9. Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Brazil is the home of white sand beaches and outstanding rainforests, but crime, political tension, and the Zika virus make it a possibly dangerous place to visit. In the cities, demonstrations are common, and like anywhere in the world, they have the potential to become violent as police forces attempt to control or disperse crowds. You may not be shocked that Rio makes the list, although to consider it too dangerous to travel would be wrong. It's not, and if you have the chance, you should definitely pay a visit. Authorities have successfully and dramatically stepped up efforts to make the city far safer since the 90s, when it was classed as a danger across the board. It's now considered safe enough to host the world's prime sporting event, the Olympics. But you should not take that as an opportunity to let your guard down. Plenty of people are robbed in Rio every year, and tourists are repeatedly targeted by thieves and con artists, so make the effort to keep yourself safe. On top of that, there are the favelas. The bottom line when it comes to these are avoid them. By venturing into the favelas, you're opening yourself up to all manner of criminal activity. Number 8. Israel. Israel is, again, perhaps not such an unexpected addition to the list, considering its current political and foreign policies. It is, however, one of those destinations that will change a traveler's life. The history, both recent and ancient, is as rich and fascinating as you will find anywhere in the world. The reason it makes it onto the list is perhaps unfortunately born out of that history. It's a region that is at continuous odds with its close neighbors, and improvised explosive devices, bomb attacks, and rockets targeting locals just as much as tourists have become part of daily life in the Holy Land, making it particularly volatile part of the world. It's not quite on par with places like Mogadishu or Kabul in terms of violence, but it does see a high level of tourist activity, and for that reason, its inclusion in the list is warranted. Number 7. Bogota, Colombia. Granted, the capital of Colombia has become a much safer destination since the days of Pablo Escobar and the rule of the cartels. Efforts to increase safety and draw higher levels of tourism have been somewhat successful. The police provide a much higher level of leadership, and the city and country is certainly a destination we would encourage to add to your bucket list. Despite this, the narcotics trade is still prevailing in rural areas, and traveling outside of tourist areas is not advised. The cartels have an entrenched influence, and this can occasionally find its way into larger cities. Tourists have been known to be targeted for kidnappings, so make sure you keep a low profile. Number 6. Mumbai, India. Mumbai comes with the expected tourist threats faced in a developing country where extreme poverty and vast wealth meet every day. Pickpocketing is an art in Mumbai. Leaving your belongings unattended, even for a second, is not a sensible move, so get some clear travel companion gear and be creative with it if you're planning on a trip. Scammers also ply their trade on a far too often basis, although if you do run into trouble, it's unlikely to leave anything but your wallet hurt. Mumbai is considered one of the world's wonders, and checking it out is a must for anyone considering themselves a traveler. Just keep your belongings close, and you'll have an awesome time. Number 5. Haiti and the Dominican Republic. The Caribbean perhaps is not a place you'd immediately think of when it comes to dangerous tourist destinations, probably more along the lines of paradise. Well, it certainly is paradise, if you stay in the resort, but we all know that it's not always the best spent vacation. Unfortunately, straying from the resort in Haiti or the Dominican Republic can land you in a heap of trouble. Credit card fraud is rampant, and bank machines are not very reliable either. Kidnapping, muggings, and even assault are known to happen while numbers of deadly crimes are dropping. Robberies and violence are not. Even resort grounds have a high level of reported criminality. Much of this can be blamed on the immense poverty affecting mainly the Haiti side of the island, but common sense should also be practiced at all times in both regions, especially when it comes to flashing your wealth around. So keep it hidden, and you should be fine. Number 4. Kingston, Jamaica. Another Caribbean island makes an appearance, although this one perhaps not so surprisingly. Famous for Bob Marley and a chilled-out vibe among other things, Jamaica offers fantastically beautiful scenery and a break from it all inside the luxury beach resorts. Outside of them, however, it's a different story. The drug trade is rampant despite police and military efforts to curb it, and robbery and assault targeting tourists is commonplace. While some cities like Spanish Town and Montego are slightly safer than Kingston, Jamaica is a place one should exercise the highest level of caution. Number 3. Cape Town, South Africa. Perhaps another unsurprising entry, however, Cape Town and Africa in general should certainly not be written off. For some experienced travelers, Africa is the only true land of self-discovery and the final destination for all those who want to understand the planet. That said, it's not a place for the meek or unprepared. Cape Town is a wonderful example of Africa. Its difficult history and recent political developments have led to a level of instability that makes the city a dangerous place for locals and tourists. Anyone considering a trip to Cape Town or Africa in general needs to check out Backpacking Africa for Beginners. It's full of tips and videos from a solo female traveler and the best advice on traveling Africa. This fantastic blog article also outlines how to stay safe in Africa from someone who lives it every day. And with that, it's now time for today's subscriber pick. Today's photo was sent to us by one of our subscribers, so if you come across a photo online and want to know more details about it, just send it on over to us. We might even feature it in a future video. Number 2. Vertical camping with portaledges. Next time you're passing by a cliff and happen to see a precariously hanging tent with campers inside, don't be alarmed. It's just a portaledge. These deployable hanging tents might seem like a thrill-seeking activity, but the idea has actually been around since the 1950s. During this time, rock climbers began to stay overnight in the mountains they were scaling and started looking for convenient niches in the mountainside to make their bed. The above picture seems to be of Gordon Wiltsey hanging somewhere in the mountains. Number 1. Acapulco, Mexico. Mexico was sure to make the list at some stage, right? Although these days it's hard to judge whether Acapulco, or many Mexican cities for that matter, can still be considered tourist destinations. Beautiful beaches, a perfect climate, and cuisine that's hard to beat does not outweigh being named the third most violent city in the world. It used to be one of Mexico's most prosperous cities, and is still one of the country's most popular tourist hubs, but the high levels of crime mean that tourists and locals are under constant threat of danger. The narcotics industry naturally plays a huge role in the city's crime, but the tourist population also plays a big role in the narcotics trade. People do still travel to Acapulco to enjoy themselves, leaving with positive memories, so it's not all bad. Resort areas are generally safe from the drug-related crimes like kidnappings, robberies, and carjackings, but traveling outside of those touristy areas can be risky. The most recent travel warning from the U.S. Department of State outlines which specific areas to avoid. The Mexican government is working to fight organized crime through added federal police and military forces, but police corruption is another dangerous problem throughout the country. Take care of yourself. Do not make yourself an obvious target, and you're likely to get along fine. So that concludes our rundown of the 10 most dangerous tourist destinations in the world. We're sure some would come as a surprise, and others not so much. And while the theme of most of our videos is travel safety, we certainly do not want to deter someone from the trip of a lifetime. The above destinations might be considered more dangerous for tourists than, say, London, Florida, or Sydney, but some may say they're also more adventurous. Everywhere has its ugly side, and you're only likely to meet it if you're behaving ugly. Practice travel safety, and you'll remain safe, more or less, forever. Thanks for watching.